So why don't we move on to our dark horse picks
Our
for
main event tonight.
exactly.
Sorry, if it's even that. So,
Okay, so I don't know how you did it, but the way I did it is I have three. I have a
yep.
quarterback dark horse, another offensive player dark horse, and a defensive player dark horse. Because let's be honest, if you're a defensive player, you're a dark horse to begin with.
Yeah. Actually, yeah, sure. Let's do that. I have three, and actually works out perfectly because I can just do it like that. So I'll let you go first, just quickly go over your picks.
Okay.
We'll make this part pretty quick because we took a little long on
mhm,
the best off seasons.
exactly. So just to clarify, we're talking about dark horse MVP picks. So we're not talking about Patrick Mahomes. We're not talking about Lamar Jackson, Deshaun Watson, even Drew Brees, Aaron Rodgers, Christian McCaffrey, um, Derrick Henry. We're not talking about the guys that are at the top that are have high odds to win the MVP. We're talking about
Mhm.
guys that we think have a small chance of just doing it, having an amazing
Mhm.
season, and just pulling it out. So
Mhm.
my quarterback pick, I I was I was thinking, you were gonna pick either Kyler Murray or Josh Allen, and I was gonna pick the other
Okay.
one. So
Okay.
I was preparing for Josh Allen. I think, I don't necessarily think this is his year. I think he might need a year or so to get acclimated with Stephon Diggs and the other new pieces in their offense. But I think at the moment they have guys like Dawson Knox and Robert Foster who are developing well. They have Devin Singletary there, who is a good pass catching back. They have a lot of pieces around Josh Allen who are really good. And this offense looks a lot better than it did last year. Josh Allen had a good year last year. So I think this year could be one
Mhm.
where even if he's not perfect, he could still put up a statistically great year, one that kind of looks like Jameis Winston's did last year, that could
Mhm.
propel him into being in the MVP conversation. So that was my quarterback pick.
For sure.
Uh, who was your quarterback pick?
Okay. My quarterback pick, you just took it. Josh Allen for sure. Again, I think this year is going to be a big year for the Bills, just with the Patriots being a bit weaker. And I think if the Bills have a really good season, and if Josh Allen has a statistically good or great season, I think there's no question he's going to be right in the running. Especially because I do believe the Bills actually have a bit of a weaker schedule than the rest of the league.
Yep.
Or
Yep.
so there's a real opportunity there for the Bills to really kind of have a really good record this year.
Yep. Absolutely. I think you're absolutely right. Uh, so for other offensive player, would you like to go first on that one so I don't steal your guy?
Uh, Actually, why don't you go first? It's okay.
Okay. Yeah. Uh, my first thought was Ezekiel Elliott because I love him, but I don't think he's dark horse enough.
No,
Because
he's not.
I think
He plays on the Cowboys, man.
yeah, he helped me win a fantasy championship, so I will always remember him. Also, we were talking about Robbie Anderson earlier. He also helped me win that fantasy championship, so he
Yeah,
also gets into my heart here.
for
The
sure.
guy that I want to talk about is Delvin Cook,
Okay,
and
that's cool. That's good.
I think he's a very skilled player. I think
Yeah.
he had injuries, that's true, but if he could have a healthy season, which is a big if for any player really, but if Dalvin Cook can have a healthy season, I think the offense with Kevin Stefanski gone and replaced, and with Stephon Diggs gone, now they have Adam Thielen and Justin Jefferson there, and they have a better offensive line, and I think Kirk Cousins will do whatever he can to alleviate the pressure on him, despite him being a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. So, and of course their defense is good, so they'll be playing with leads every now and again. Plus, they're a good team that gets 2 games against the Lions and 2 winnable games against the Packers and Bears, and they have some good. They get to play some not so hard teams in their schedule. So, I think the offense is built for Dalvin Cook to destroy, and
Yeah.
I think he very well can. I
Well,
think
it's a rushing. Yeah.
I think this, and he can catch the ball too. Not as well as Christian McCaffrey, obviously, but he can do that. So I think just the system's right for him and the time's right for him. I think it's his year.
Yeah. No, so I'll just quickly touch on yours. Dalvin Cook is a great pick. Obviously, you mentioned he has to stay healthy, but with a run first offense like the Vikings have, I think he very well could have a very big year as long as he stays healthy. And if he does that, and if the Vikings do as well, do you think they will? I think you're 100% right that he will be right in there with the MVP conversation. So I actually have two for my secondary offensive option for MVP.
Okay.
I'll use my lesser one. The one I think people are sleeping on is Odell Beckham Jr. of the Browns. I don't know if you can really count that as a sleeper pick, but I like to think it is because he had down year last year. People are sleeping on him. That Browns offense is going to be ridiculous, especially now with Kevin Stefanski running the team.
Yeah.
Baker Mayfield's got a chip on his shoulder. Jarvis Landry will help. Well, I mean, that team is so good that Odell's going to have, you can't double team Odell. He's going to get his looks. I mean, but the other guy I kind of want to focus on is, and now this is going to be biased, but I don't really care, is Josh Jacobs of the Oakland Raiders, or Las Vegas Raiders.
Yep.
So just to quickly talk about Josh Jacobs, he was, in my opinion, he was snubbed of the Offensive Rookie of the Year to Kyler Murray, which is fine, I guess. I understand it. Quarterback bias. Kyler Murray had a really good year as well. But Josh Jacobs carried the Raiders offense for a lot of the year last year after not having any offensive help. And now they have Henry Ruggs. And I think that's only going to help open up the field a little bit for Josh Jacobs. And keep in mind, he was hurt he was playing hurt the last couple weeks of the season. So his numbers very well probably would have been better if he was healthy. So I just think with another year under his belt, a healthy Josh Jacobs, and I guess no one's really going to be there 100% with the coronavirus going on, but I just think Josh Jacobs has potential to really have a breakout year for a running back. But and I think if the Raiders are able to sneak into the playoffs, that's even if it's in a wild card spot, I think Josh Jacobs will probably get some MVP recognition. And just quickly before we move on to defensive players, another quarterback I was thinking about taking for MVP was Derek Carr. I think this we talked about that we talked about this very briefly, but I think this year with Derek Carr having the weapons that he has, I think if he can run, he can actually run with the ball pretty well. So if he can get the ball out to Tyrell Williams, Henry Ruggs, and just the wide receiver group, as well as Jason Witten at tight. Again, this is another guy. I think if the Raiders make the playoffs, that'll be another guy who will be right there for the MVP conversation.
Hold up. Did you just brag about having Jason Witten on your team?
Yeah.
Man, the dude's so experienced. He's gonna teach everybody how to play. Oh man.
Yeah. No. Okay. Well, sorry. Not Jason Witten. Jonathan Waller, former Ravens property.
Darren Waller. Yeah. It's okay.
Sorry, did I say Jonathan Waller?
You said Jonathan
Oh
Waller.
Lord, Darren Waller. Damn it, bro.
Once Darren Waller, Mark Andrews, then we can talk.
Yeah, sure. So we'll just quickly get right into.
Yeah, I love the Josh Jacobs pick, though. Just want to throw that out there. He's an incredibly versatile running back. He's not Adrian Peterson, who was the last running back to win MVP. Adrian Peterson, 2,000 yards in 2012. That was the last time it happened. But if he can carry an offense with a defense against defenses that won't stuff the box because of Henry Ruggs and the other weapons that they have, that's really good. That's really good. Sure. And Darren Waller can block. So I like that pick a lot. I think it's possible. Maybe not in the second season, possible down the road.
Down the road for sure.
And for defensive player, the last time a defensive player won the MVP, it was the great Lawrence Taylor in 1986, the year they won the New York Giants won the Super Bowl. He was something else.
Yep.
Just if you can watch YouTube videos on that guy, do it. His highlight reel is one of the dirtiest I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
It's disgusting what he was allowed to get away with back then, let alone just what he was able to do. It was crazy, and he was also just an insane human being back in the day. He would just do lines before games. The 80s was a different time.
Yep.
But anyways, it hasn't happened since 1986, and it probably won't happen again for a while. So, any defensive player is a dark horse. We're gonna stay away from the big names like Aaron Donald and Khalil Mack and Von Miller and J.J. Watt, who should have won in 2014, and I'm still salty about that. That would have been awesome. But that being considered, any defensive player that's not one I just named could be considered. Mm-hmm. And I was thinking about a lot of guys. Mm-hmm. I actually just got my guy before we started because I was thinking about it. I was planning on going with TJ Watt because of how well he's been progressing over his few years. Mm-hmm. I was thinking about Bradley Chubb because he's primed for an outbreak year. And 12 and a half sacks in your rookie season, that's really good. I was thinking about safeties like Derwin James and Jamal Adams because they're getting tackles and interceptions and tackles for losses. They're incredibly productive. And I was also a little less thinking about Devin White on the Buccaneers, the linebacker, because he's only going into his second season, but he had a stellar first season, and he can do a lot, especially with playing with more leads than he did last year because he'll have a better offense. But the guy I landed on, another young guy, as you can tell, the theme was young guys here. I want to talk a little bit about Darius Leonard, who is one of the defensive captains and linebacker for the Indianapolis Colts. He was an All-Pro in his rookie season after being a second-round pick. I think he had 5 interceptions last year as a middle linebacker. That's kind of insane. The guy is everywhere on the field if you ever watch the Colts. I remember watching that Colts-Chiefs Sunday or Monday night game, or was it Sunday night last year, and he was just fucking everywhere. Like, Jesus Christ. The guy can move. The guy can play. He's so smart, and he's going into his third year where he has been one of the most productive defensive players in the league quietly over the last 2 years. So if anyone can do it, I think he probably has the best odds to do it, considering he's in a position where he can play off the ball, he can play on the ball, and he can make moves everywhere on the field.
That's a really good pick. I came up with a couple for these. And so the first, I'll just quickly. The first one is, I don't really think this is a sleeper. I think it's relatively a sleeper, but the first one that can't.
Hold up. Are you gonna pick Khalil Mack?
Yeah.
Are you gonna pick Khalil Mack?
No,
I know he's not on the Patriots anymore. He's gone.
Yeah.
Simon, look at me.
I know.
Look at me. He's gone.
He's gone.
I love doing that.
Yes.
I'm gonna use that. I'm gonna use that in future videos. This is awesome.
Sure. So I don't really think this counts as a sleeper, but I don't think he really gets like as much appreciation as guys like J.J. Watt or Khalil Mack or Aaron Donald. But the first guy that came to mind was Stephon Gilmore.
Okay.
He is probably one of the best cornerbacks in the league. For those of you who don't know who Cam Jordan is, a defensive end for the New Orleans Saints, and over the last couple of years, he's definitely had he's been very present in their defense with a lot of tackles, forced fumbles, and fumble recoveries, and just a lot of sacks if we're talking about underrated players, I think he is definitely one of the most underrated players on defense. And again, I just think he has an opportunity to do really well with the Saints. I mean, the division is going to be very, very competitive this year, obviously, with the Bucs being as good as they're going to be. And then the Falcons, but I just think Cam Jordan, he's another. I think he's underdog for talking about a potential MVP candidates with a team who's as good as the New Orleans Saints.
Agreed. Cam Jordan's a fucking monster. Just gonna come out and say
Yep.
it. Dude's so good. His stack numbers show it too. Dude's good.
Yep.
It's really tough for a cornerback to win something MVP. So the fact that Stephon Gilmore won Defensive Player of the Year is huge because all cornerbacks really do is cover. So you really need to have the numbers to show how good you are, and they have to be crazy numbers because safeties and linebackers and defensive ends are the kind of the flashy positions on the field because they get the numbers more easily and they do more. So for a corner, it's a lot harder. So the best corner in the league, who is Stephon Gilmore, he's definitely a dark horse. It's absolutely a sleeper pick. Absolutely. So that's I agree with that.
And one of the first, all the reasons you just mentioned are one of the reasons why are some great reasons why quarterbacks aren't really considered. And one of the first names actually that came to mind when we started talking about this discussion was actually Jalen Ramsey. But I was like, nah, bro, the Rams fucking suck. Not going anywhere this year.
Fair enough. He's very good, but I don't.
He's very good. I don't think he's an MVP candidate. I don't think he's MVP worthy though.
Yeah, I honestly take my boy Marlon Humphrey before I take Jalen Ramsey at this point. Marlon Humphrey had a great season last season.
Yep. So yeah, I mean, that's all we really have for you today on the amateur. Yeah, so I guess we'll see you next time, partner. Max, do you have any closing statements you want to say before we sign off?
Yeah, if you think we are absolutely stupid and our picks are awful, let us know in the comments because we're pretty stupid. Yeah. Just if you have anything to say in the video, if you love my mustache, which I will show to you right now, you like that? That's good. I like that. Then let me know in the comments. If you have any criticisms for the mustache, please do not put that down in the comments. My ego is pretty fragile.
If you want him to shave it, just let him know. Let us know.
Put a dislike on the video if you want me to shave it.
No, don't do that. Don't do that.
Hey, all publicity is good publicity. I'm okay with that.
The most disliked video in YouTube history.
Yeah. It's not going to happen because the mustache is awesome, and that is the only statement I have.
All right, so yeah, we'll see you next time when we record, and yeah, thanks for tuning in.
We'll see you next time.